But how do you read a website page? Eye tracking research studies show that 79% of users scan pages and only 16% read word by word. Our eyes don't move smoothly across the page when we read. We make quick jumps from word to word. Short words of 4 to 6 letters are more likely to be skipped than longer words of 7 to 8 letters. So this has held true since 1997, literally since the beginning of the internet. And that hasn't changed in 23 years. So why does it matter? If you're a copywriter, a marketer, or website designer, this has huge implications for how we create digital content. So in this episode, I'm going to discuss how we read online and how to write to increase chances that your reader will make it down your page. Let's do this. So I mentioned eye tracking as the research used to determine how people read down a page. So I want to define, first of all, what eye tracking actually is. So in short, eye tracking involves specialized technology that, as you would expect, tracks a person's gaze as it rests on different parts of a screen or a page. So it records how long a person looks at a specific word, how quickly they move through text, and what parts of the page they completely skip or ignore. So the most common eye tracking studies identified two distinct patterns, an F pattern and a Z pattern when people read web content. So this describes the typical paths that the eyes follow when scanning a web page and guides how information should be structured for better readability and engagement. The goal is always to help readers find what they need efficiently. The scanning patterns depended on various factors like user task, site familiarity, layout, and content type. So the F pattern is more common in text-heavy websites where users are more likely to scan for information. So let me give you a few examples of F pattern designs you can look up to see what I'm talking about. First is news websites like BBC and CNN. These sites often use the F pattern with headlines aligned on the left and content following in a horizontal manner. So the layout typically includes a left side navigation bar, main content in the center, and then sometimes additional content or ads on the right. Second example, blogs and articles on sites such as Medium or just WordPress blogs. Blog posts often follow the same F pattern. They start with a headline, followed by subheadings, bullet points, and then shorter paragraphs aligned to the left, which facilitate easy scanning. A third example, search engine results, such as you find on Google. Google search results are a classic example of the F pattern. So users typically scan the page vertically down the left side for relevant headlines, then horizontally when something catches their interest. And the fourth example is e-commerce sites such as Amazon. Product listings on sites like Amazon follow the F pattern with product images on the left, followed by product titles, descriptions, and prices, and encourages users to scan in the horizontal and then vertical manner. So now let's talk about Z pattern design examples. The Z pattern is often used in websites that aim to guide the user through a more visual or storytelling experience. For example, landing pages such as you'll find on Spotify or Dropbox. Many landing pages use the Z pattern. They start with a logo or key message in the top left, move to a call to action or sign up button in the top right, and then diagonally to the opposite corner, and then finish with important content or additional calls to action in the bottom right. Another example of Z patterns you find in corporate websites like Apple and Tesla. These sites use a Z pattern on their homepage to guide the user's eyes from the logo to the main navigation, diagonally across the page to an eye-catching image or message, and then to a call to action or additional content on the bottom. Third example, advertising and marketing materials often use the Z pattern. Marketing web pages, especially for product launches or promotional campaigns, they use this pattern by strategically placing key elements like headlines, benefits, features, and then a final call to action. And lastly, with the Z pattern, portfolios or personal websites tend to use this. So they employ the structure by guiding the viewer's eyes from the introduction at the top left across to a showcase of work and services and down to contact information or call to action. So now let's get into how to make your copy scannable so people get the information that they're looking for or need. There's certain principles of scannable text. So you want to keep in mind again that 80% of people are scanners. So this really includes most people who are going to land on your page. So these are tips that you can use when using the F and the Z patterns. So here's how to structure your copy so it's easily scannable. For one, you want to use clear headings, crossheads, and subheadings. Front loading, placing important information and keywords up front in structure of content. And then chunking down or breaking up content into smaller, distinct groups is super important and easier to read. So methods of chunking down include using short paragraphs, short lines or text, grouping related items together, for example. Highlighting keywords using colors are also helpful. Typeface, weight, variation, or hyperlink texts. Anything that really separates your copy from the surrounding copy is going to catch a person's eye. Having a short summary paragraph for longer sections of text, using bulleted lists, simple vocabulary. These are things people are going to jump from, especially bulleted lists, using short sentences. And you also want to highlight keywords, as I mentioned, hyperlinking text, using different color, typeface weights, variation. One idea per paragraph. You want to make sure that you keep it simple and concise, stick to the one idea. And strategic use of images. One of the best examples that uses all of everything I just talked about is BBC.com news site. If you look on that site, it uses all of these things. They have very eye-catching images, then short paragraphs, headings that clearly tell what copy is to follow. An effective website should enable users to find what they need quickly, complete their tasks without making them think too hard about it. So here's how to combine my tips on writing scannable text with the F and Z pattern. Number one, leverage the F pattern for text-heavy pages. So you want to rely on or keep in mind the headings and subheadings. Use clear and meaningful headings aligned with the F pattern layout. So this means placing the most important headings on the left where users start scanning. And then key information first. So you follow what's called the inverted pyramid style, which means you lead with the most important information and then follow with the body and the less crucial information below. And use, again, bulleted lists. So you want to integrate bulleted lists in the body of the text, aligning with the horizontal strokes of the F pattern, making it easier for users to scan through key points. And then use the Z pattern for landing pages or home pages. So you want to keep in mind strategic placement of elements like logo, navigation, main message, and calls to action along the Z pattern path. So this guides the viewer's eye through the content in a logical sequence. And be sure to include engaging visuals and headlines because this helps to maintain interest and leads the viewer's eye towards the next element. So let's recap real quickly everything we dove into how people read online and the significant implications this has for digital content creation. Okay, so I started with eye tracking studies, the importance of it, what it means, the F and Z pattern, how the patterns affect the way a person goes down a news page and when to use them most strategically. I also covered the importance of creating scannable text and gave you specific points on how to do that, including emphasizing the importance of clear headings, front-loading content, chunking information down to more manageable bite-sized pieces. And all of these techniques will help to ensure that readers can quickly find the information they need without feeling overwhelmed. Because if they feel overwhelmed, what are they going to do? They're going to go to your competitor, or they're just going to jump off the site. Finally, I talk about how to use the F pattern and Z pattern to enhance user engagement in real life situations. So the goal is to create web content that's not only informative, but also easy to navigate and understand. So when you apply the insight from these eye tracking studies and adhere to the principles of the scannable text, you can design web content that meets the needs and behaviors of your visitors to your website or your web page. I hope you found this helpful, and thanks for listening.